Blog Talk Radio.
Archangels, ghosts, and Bigfoot. Oh my! It's just another night for Supernatural Girls. Real stories, real answers to life's biggest supernatural mysteries. And now for another exciting interview with paranormal experts from this world and others. Psychic medium Helene Olsen and paranormal researcher Patricia Baker. Here are Supernatural Girls.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Supernatural Girls. I am your host, Patricia Baker, and I am here with my fabulous co-host, psychic medium Helene Olsen. Hi, Helene. How are you?
I'm great. How are you doing, Patricia? I apologize to the audience for my little sniffles here.
You're a little under the weather, I know, but
yeah,
I know you've got it under control here.
Yeah. That's the way it is, Patricia, you know. And now it's 50 degrees outside here. I have to talk about the weather, you know.
Well, you do. It's going to be in the 30s here tonight.
Really?
I swear. I was at the store, the grain store in town, and I said, okay, is it going to snow tonight or what? I mean, 30-something. Luckily, it's above freezing, so all my plants will survive. But, my goodness, it's the end of May.
And then, you know, like I said before, it will turn to 95 degrees and we'll all be complaining, you know. That's how it goes every year.
Well, it's one of the things that adds to getting ill because these swings in temperatures are a lot for us to handle. So.
Oh, it is.
Oh, my goodness. So we've got a lot of exciting things going on tonight, and I wanted to make sure to announce to everyone that tomorrow night we have a very, very special prayer circle taking place for our sister in light, Becky Andreasen, who is facing some very major health challenges. And tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, we are offering a prayer circle for Becky. So if you would like to join us, please call into our conference line, and I'm going to announce it now, but please look at the website, make sure you've got the right number and the access code. It's also in our newsletter. And our website is supernaturalgirls.com. The number you'll call in for the prayer circle is 712-432-1500. That's 712-432-1500. And the access code is 768-610 768-610 That will also be on our Supernatural Girls Facebook page, and we'll send it out via Twitter. And I know, Helene, you put it in your newsletter as well, so we're announcing it to everyone to come and join us on this prayer circle. It's going to be great. You can also extend your prayers to yourself and to any other loved ones that may need help from the angelic realm. It's going to be a very powerful circle tomorrow night.
Yes, it will, and it is live on the telephone conference line, and as you said, people are encouraged to really expand their prayers because we're going to have so much light around. There's enough for everybody, and
that's right.
We do hold Becky in our thoughts and prayers, and we have been, and many people have been sending her a lot of energy, and it's all good. Yeah.
It is helping, and we want to help boost her in a big way tomorrow night. So please come and join us. It's going to be a wonderful gathering, a very open-hearted circle for Becky and for all of you and your loved ones that also may need prayers. And tonight,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, tonight we have a wonderful guest that we'll introduce in a few minutes, and his name is Jenkins, and he has written a book on the Theban Oracle. It's a magical alphabet. I can't wait to hear about how to work with this thing. This is going to be awesome.
It looks like a powerful divination tool. I read the book, and it was very interesting. Yeah.
It is, and the letters. I have lots of questions about these letters. It looks like a lot of M's. So we got to find out the significance of all of this. It does look very powerful. So I'm anxious to speak with Greg. I know all of you want to hear from him. And we also have tonight our favorite numerologist, astrologer, Patricia Kirkman from Tucson, Arizona. Patricia, thank you for joining us again tonight.
Looking forward to it. It's going to be fun as always. Love talking to you too.
It is. And tonight you're going to be talking about Gerald Padalecki, who is one of the big stars on Supernatural, the television show. Mm-hmm. And I know that Greg told me earlier today, our guest, that he's also a big fan of Supernatural. I know a lot of people are a big fan of Supernatural. And these guys seem to be a little bit on the private side, so it's really going to be interesting to hear what you have to say about Gerald. He plays the role of Sam Winchester. And what is going on with this guy? What's coming up in his future?
Well, it's quite interesting because when I took a look at his given name at birth, the thing I found very interesting, he is very, very hard-headed, but he's a perfectionist. And he gives and takes equally well, but he's very creative in how he gives. And he's a great communicator, but he tends to be a little on the anal side. He sees if it's black to him, it's black. If it's white, it's white. He has no shades of gray with the way he looks at things.
Wow. Does that make him a little hard to get along with?
Well, not really, because he does it through the wanting to be a perfectionist. And you'll notice that in how he goes about the business of doing business. Because I took a look at when he started in the business. In 1999, he won a claim to fame contest. He was in his 9th year. And for those that aren't aware, the 9th year is a time of ending all things, but it's also the perfect time for the actor or the writer or anyone involved in creative arts of any way, shape, or form. So that year, he won his claim to fame award.
Perfect.
Uh-huh.
Perfect timing for him.
Oh, definitely that. And he's kind of slow in getting into relationships because he wasn't quite sure which way to go, although he did marry in his 2 personal year, which was the perfect time to make a situation come to life. So he's very interesting from the standpoint, whether he's done it intentionally or not, his timing has been perfect for his marriage, for his break into the theater, and for his show. Really doing very, very well.
Well,
and then I took a look at. Go ahead.
The show is just fabulous. It has some very, very loyal fans, and it keeps getting renewed. Thank goodness, because I would miss it terribly. And I have to say that both of these men that star in this television series and the supporting actors are tremendously talented. They are truly believable in their roles, and I just can't imagine them in any other role. That's how well they play it. So it's really interesting to hear these things about Gerald's timing, that it's so on target.
Oh, definitely that. And then when I took a look at Jensen's, the thing that is very interesting here for him is that he has a 2 destiny. So he's here to be the team player and the partner, where Gerald is here to do it on his own. He has to be the leader. And if you take a look at how they play the roles, that is exactly how it comes out in the roles.
Aha. Now, Jensen Ackles, I believe is his last name. He plays the brother in the series, and his
Dean.
character's name is Dean Winchester. So that's interesting.
Now, when I take a look at things,
in the credits, Gerald's name comes up first.
Well, yes.
I don't know if he had a better agent or what.
No, it has to do. It really has to do with how they relate to things and how they go about it. Both of them have the opportunity to be, it's all about me attitude. But one does it with finesse, and the other one does it by a little choking and pushing as he goes. So Gerald has got his footprint in the sand already. So the other will have to follow suit. But even as brothers on the show, isn't it pretty much that way, where Gerald is the leader and Dean is the follower? More drama?
Yeah, well, they take turns with that in the roles that they play, it appears.
Mm-hmm.
But again, they're great actors, both of these young men, tremendously talented and so believable in their roles. That's what makes the show.
Well, and the nice part is the part that they're playing, how it interfaces with their actual name.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Because both, even though they're very hard-headed and pushy in real life, they're both very sensitive and creative when it comes to their parts. I thought that was very interesting to see how they were working with one another in that direction.
Well, they bring a lot to the table, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And so what else, what do you see in their future?
Well, the nice part about it is, when we're taking a look at what's taking place here, Jared's in the 6th personal year right now. There's some major things that are going to be offered to him over next year, but I think he'll be kind of slow in how he handles it. Might be a year and a half before he jumps into something spectacular, okay? His name is not going away for a long, long time. Mm. And when we're looking at Jenkins, he's going into a 2 personal year. So for him, it's going to be more about being sensitive to what's taking place, but there's going to be a bolstering up of some sort in his chart somewhere after October of this year and before September of next year. So he's very creative in something that I think he's involved in something else that will that he may be working with as well as this.
Wow.
But it's going to give him some notoriety.
Wow, so it'll work out well for him, so that's good.
Oh, definitely. Both boys are in very good positioning. I said, it's a shame that they're so young. They're so cute.
They are cute, aren't they?
They really are. And they have that all-American boy look to them. I think back to those that we used to see as people that had that panache to look like and be something special. They both have that mannerisms when they walk and how they handle themselves.
They really do. It was a few weeks ago they had a show where it looked like they were kind of sitting the show out, and the writers were bringing in new characters to possibly have a spin-off. Mm-hmm. And it was the most boring darn show that I've seen on the series. And I was talking to my husband about it. I said, God, this stinks. What's wrong? And then we realized, well, both of the stars are missing from the screen. That's the problem. So Jared and Jensen were both not really in that show, and I really hope that they don't spin off with this other thing because it was so boring. I can't imagine it lasting. But they really fill up the screen. And
well,
it's
as tall as they are, they certainly should.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Jim Arness and his brother that played in a different acting, but they were both very tall, very good-looking. Each went into a different vein of how they handled the roles that they had. And I think we're going to see a spin-off in some respect of how they're going to make some changes in the future. And I'm looking for Jensen to be making the major shift.
So he'll be doing the major stuff. And sounds like Jared's going to be slow at moving ahead, you said, with anything.
He's going to be... Yeah, but he's going to be doing something else on the side, and it's going to be a surprise when he finally lays some things out. He's very detailed about things. He's what I'd call a plotter, making he wants to see where every step is, so that when he looks backwards, he knows exactly where he was, so he can know exactly where he's going forward. So It's going to be interesting. Both of them are very concerned about what's just and fair. Both of them identical in that, where Jared is more the team player, the peacemaker, the arbitrator. Jensen is more about it's got to be perfect. It's got to be perfect. That's why I see that perfectionist element of his making a shift next year. Because it'll do with the creative side.
Wow. Very interesting, Patricia. Thank you so much for your...
Oh, you're more than welcome. It's fun. I love doing this.
Well,
thank you, Patricia. You're awesome.
Yeah, we love it. We love hearing about our stars. And next week you're going to be back with more stars and their information. We've got to be talking about Crowley, the King of Hell from Supernatural, and also we have Castiel, the angel, the archangel. And I know you're going to be doing their numbers also. It'll be very interesting to hear next week what you find out about those two, again, the supporting characters in Supernatural. So Patricia Kirkman, and you can reach Patricia at patriciakirkman.com. if you would like your own reading, and we highly recommend you, Patricia. You're one of the best.
Oh, thank you, dear. I appreciate that. And I'm waiting to hear the letters for the numbers for Greg Jenkins.
Oh, yes.
I've got to try to dissect those and put them together.
Oh, my gosh, I know. Maybe there'll be a match. So we're going to bring Greg on right now. So, Patricia, thank you so much. And
have a great show, ladies.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Patricia. So now we are going to bring our guest live on the air. Now, Greg Jenkins is a terrific author. He has a great book called The Theban Oracle, Discover the Magic of the Ancient Alphabet That Changes Lives. And Greg is a PhD. He is a mental health professional, case manager, and pastoral counselor with over 25 years' experience working in the mental health and medical fields. He is the founder and director of Soulful Expressions, independent art survey and psychological consulting, and he lives in Orlando, Florida. And we are lucky enough to have Greg on our show tonight. Greg, welcome to Supernatural Girls.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So what did you think of Patricia's rendition here of the guys on our favorite show?
I thought it was very interesting. I've never really gotten into numerology, but I find it probably spot on. I don't know the actors, of course, but I love their characters that they play. They're very powerful. So, very interesting.
They are, yes. So, gosh, well, this alphabet is really something, but please tell us how you got intrigued by this magical alphabet. What started you on this path?
Theban, anybody who is involved in, say, Wicca or magic or any of those traditions will all know what Theban looks like, but the history of it is so arcane and so hard to nail down that it's just one of those great mysteries of human history. And it's like the Da Vinci Code in many ways. You don't know exactly what it means. You know maybe a little bit about the person who devised it. In this case, it's a man called Honorius of Thebes, who is completely mysterious, and many scholars don't even know if he even exists, if it was a pseudonym for somebody else. But the history of it is extremely arcane. So I think that's pretty much what got me involved in it, and I went to England because I have family there, and I went to the British Library, and I looked up a few of the Sloanes, which is their collections, and I tried to find as much information on it as I could. And I'll tell you, if the British Library does not have a lot of information on something, which is very rare, then it's a complete conundrum to history, and it's one of those mysteries that just keeps you enthralled, and it sure did with me. So I wanted to explore it a little bit further, and I thought, this is one of these systems that dates back to the ancient eye-writing techniques that some of the Hebrews used, even during the time of Chaldea, which is the pre-Hebrew organization, the pre-writing system, and so forth. And you'll find that this writing system here, Theban, is very similar to accepted Dark Age to Middle Age writing systems like Passing of the River, the language of the daggers, and non-script writing systems, which really don't have a purpose in language, but do have a codex system to it.
So nobody really knows where this came from.
No, the legend is that, well, let's start with Cornelius Agrippa in the 1500s. He wrote about it briefly in chapter 24 of book 2 of his famous work, De Occultia Philosophia. And he quotes Johannes Trithemius, who also wrote about it briefly in his encyclopedic works called the Polygraphia. Now, he tends to say that it came from a man called Peter Diabano, Peter the White, and he was the man who spoke to, or at least dealt with, this mysterious person called Honorius of Thebes, who is the reputed author of a very famous book called the Liber Juratus, also known as the Sworn Book of Honorius. Now, got to keep in mind that the whole purpose of the Theban script, allegedly, is that during the time of the witch burnings, the burning times, and the madness of the churches throughout Europe, they wanted to secure the magical works of all the magi from Spain and Greece and Egypt and other areas throughout Europe, So they gathered together in a secret form, and they hired this man, so to speak, Honorius of Thebes, probably a code name, to take the bulk of the works and to produce it into one tome and then make 3 total. And then they were going to be distributed to the highest magi in various councils. Now, today there's only fragments of one of those books, and the reason why, there's 2 possible reasons. One is that when one master dies and he doesn't have a proper acolyte or apprentice, it gets buried with him. So probably several of these books, or at least 2 of them, are buried somewhere in some grave unknown from some magi. Or they were destroyed. The other option is that the Catholic Church took it up and buried it in the Vatican somewhere, which may be there today in its entirety. And they probably have enough grimoires that would turn your hair white if you knew what they had. But it's just the shards and the pieces and fragments of this book, the Liber Geratis, the sworn book, that has offered us some understanding of angelic magic, which is what this all basically is.
Can I say something, Greg?
Yeah.
I don't know if this helps you or not, but one of my guides told me that Honorius of Thebes was not a person. It was a group of 4 people.
Well, that makes sense. They did.
I don't know why I heard that. I don't know why I heard that. That's just what they told me, so maybe that'll help you with your research. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, finding who these people could have been. You remember, like Giordano Bruno and so forth, and some of the great architects of high magic, if you will, ceremonial and angelic magic, were just, it was such a dark time for them. Most of them were killed and tortured in ways you don't even want to think. I mean, it's like it starts back 300 years after the death of Christ with Hypatia of Alexandria, who was a great scholar and, you know, a servitor of high magic and scholarly works, and she was tortured in ways that you just don't want to know. And it was just because she had wisdom. And a lot of the churches in their fledgling eras, they just did not want to have this. There was no room for an open mind. You were either part of the system or you were an enemy. You were with us or against us. And if you questioned anything, you were destroyed. So it was bad, but
it's
and
terrible.
That's what creates the secrecy. Yeah.
Yeah, and the need to turn something like
today.
this into a cipher so that they could communicate without giving themselves away. Because isn't that another way that they use this alphabet?
They still do it today. A lot of covens and groups and solitary practitioners of the old religion will still use Theban and various other ones to put things to code. Now, you know, if you would have gone back, say, 150 years or 200 years, say the time of Francis Barrett when he wrote his book, The Magus, and so forth, that was a resurfacing of sorts of what we call modern-day magic or ceremonial magic. Before that, there was a huge lull in time for several hundred years where a lot of this stuff was only practiced by the most high scholar. Everybody else was involved in other things. And then later on with the industrial age, people, you know, threw out the concept of witchcraft and ghosts and all that kind of stuff, you know, to the wayside in favor of the new trinkets, the new toys. You know, it was the iPhone and the iPad of the day, you know, having a cotton gin or something of that nature, you know. So only the most astute people will follow this discipline. And like the Force in Star Wars, you know, you either turn to the light side or the dark side, which we're always going to be at odds with. But this kind of magic here is considered the most high. I mean, it goes back to, let's say, the Renaissance era with Dr. John Dee, who was the vizier and advisor to Queen Elizabeth I. You know, he was a brilliant man, and he created that cipher system, if you will, Enochian, which is similar to this in many ways. And I heard you ask earlier why there's so many M's and curves and so forth.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of different shapes of the same letter, M.
Yeah. What you have, a lot of this is based, originally suspected to be based in Egyptian hieroglyphs, but more importantly, I think it's to recognize the curvature of alchemical signs. The differential here is when you keep your pen, for instance, or scribe, and you keep it to the paper, for instance, and you never lift up your pen. Now, you can do that with every 23 letters with the Theban alphabet and many others, even runic systems, which are more block form. It was easier to chisel, which is probably why they did that. But for this form of eye writing, if you keep your pen to it, you can make the M's and just make small variations. That was meant to confuse. Each one of those icons, those letters, grammaton lips, if you want to call them that, represent something. It could represent a mineral, a plant. It could represent angelic orders, if you will. Everything has meaning. The 24th script is one to throw everybody off, and it's like the old Latin cross. When you stopped writing a system, writing a sentence or a word, you would put a little tiny cross, like a Maltese cross, and that was like a period, and that was to end the sentence. Well, this last one, which is oddly shaped, it's very cruciform, and has 3 of them. Each have a particular meaning, but it basically brings an end to your cycle, whatever you're doing, which is why it stands for an ending. Now, I have one mystery stone, if you will, or shard or shell or whatever you're going to use in my system, which stands for another very mysterious lady who existed in the early 19th century in Maine. So I don't know if you're aware of that, if you had a chance to read about her.
Yes, but tell our audience about her.
Okay. Her, again, this is a great mystery. Back in the early 90s when I was working on my bachelor's at Norwich University in Vermont, I was staying with my professor and his wife, renting a little cabin in the back of their home up in Old Town, Maine. And I had the chance to do a lot of traveling in my time off. So I would drive usually to Bangor, or I would drive over to Bar Harbor and do shopping and stuff like that with the rest of the tourists. Well, I went into an estate sale, and I bought some various artifacts, an old saber and a blanket trunk and so forth, trunk. And when I looked at the bottom of this trunk, I found this old book. And, it was in pretty much disrepair, and it was covered like in wax paper. And when I looked at it more closely, I noticed it had something burned or etched in the skin. Now, I got the creeps because the skin looked kind of human, but it turned out being deer skin. Yeah, it turned out being deer skin. But I opened it up. A lot of the papers were falling apart, obviously, because it was 100 years old or so, or more than that, 200, close to it. And I decided I had to have it. So I've got this for a song and a dance. Basically, $200 bought me the sword and the trunk and the book and the works. They didn't know what they had. Apparently, this is a book of shadows of sorts by a lady who only signed her name as Bethany. And she lived in a little town in Arcadia area of Maine. And
like
originally,
really rural, right?
Yeah, it's very rural. Now, you got to remember, I mean, I was born in Danvers, Massachusetts, so I know this area. And I know 200 years ago it was extremely sparse. It was all forest and so forth, and a few notable houses. But women had very little rights in that. I mean, they were trying to fight just with the hope to have a vote. They couldn't even vote what they were going to make in the kitchen. They were pretty much in servitude in those days. And she had to do everything in secret, which makes this book very important. And that I saw a few references to Barrett's work. She said, basically, Mr. Barrett explains this and that. It was very hard to read her writing. It was very small script and so forth. But she also made a few icons of the Theban script. And at that time, I had absolutely no idea what that meant. And I took the book, and I went to one of my professors at Norwich, and I had him look at it, and then I had Dr. Dubois look at it, Barbara Dubois, who's a Harvard psychologist, and she said she'd seen it before. And the two of them, my professors, went and looked it up just before they had mainframe computers and internet and stuff, but they went through their books, and they found the script, and they said it's called Honorin, or Theban, and that was the spark, and it stuck with me all those years. And I kept this book in a very special place in a humidor-type box that you use for old fragments and what have you. And now it's in a little small museum up in Massachusetts. But I kept that in the back of my mind for all these years, and I just wanted to know, what is this about? So I started buying books and starting getting very, very much in depth with high magic, if you will. And I studied that as a folkloric study, which is one of my research assignments, folklore and the human condition and so forth during my master's degree, and psychology, counseling psychology. And I wanted to know basically what made humans tick and why did they turn toward this, and why am I, most of all, attracted to it. At those times, I didn't understand why I was attracted to it. I think I have a pretty good idea today, as probably some of your people that you're associated with. But when I did more research on the Theban script, it all pretty much fell in place. And I wrote this book basically in about 6 months. Everything flowed. Now, I've read other authors have this too. When something's meant to be, if it's providence or kismet or what have you, it just flows naturally. And it did. It's a lot longer than the book that you have in front of you. A lot more dedicated and a lot more information. But just for the sake of publishing, I think Wiser, has to make it so everybody can understand it. I got a little bit esoteric in some spots. But what you're seeing is a culmination of my research and how I apply it to a very simple system of divination, which, by the way, is not fortune-telling. A lot of people confuse that this is going to tell you your future, and that it's evil because Leviticus, the chapter of the Bible says you can't do that. Well, keep in mind that's referring to the murder of humans and animals to shift through their intestines to see the future. I can see where that would be wrong. I wouldn't do that today no matter what. This
really.
system
not high on our list, that's for sure. Or on the list at all.
But people did do that. Right.
Right.
But the form of the divination that you're seeing here is also extremely ancient. The Vikings use it, obviously, and many of the Germanic peoples, the ancient Japanese and Asian cultures used it. The Polynesian islanders used it. All these people used it all throughout the world, and none of them met each other that we know of. History is very subjective, so I don't take it with a grain. I take it with a very large grain of salt. Let's just say that. There's a lot to history we don't know, but I think that this system is very simple and very clean, and it's meant to make you think, because you and I and everybody else listening has that magic within them. They already have it, and they always have. It's just some embrace it, some deny it, some understand it empathically. They automatically get it. I think nowadays that would be called like a natural witch, somebody who would have this understanding and it make things change by themselves without doing anything for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, because you also have in the book a place where you can work with the Theban magical alphabet to create different things in your life, which I found fascinating. So that it's, number one, it was a cipher, and it was used for secret communication. Number two, it's used for divination. And number three, it's used for actual magic so that you can make changes in your life just by working with the alphabet.
Right, exactly. Now, this all goes back to that ancient system I was talking about, the grammatomancy. And that was the ancient Greek system of using the Greek letters, the alpha, phi, beta, and so forth, to have representations in certain things. That would represent air, water, the elements, minerals, etc. Even Merlin used that, supposedly, that system. But for magic, again, going back to the magic of the self, it all falls under the sympathetic magic ideal, which was coined by Sir James Frazer in the late 19th century. And you're probably familiar with sympathetic magic, I take it, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Well, when you concentrate on something, your subconscious or your conscious, whichever it may be, can actually bring about change in your physical body. I have worked with doctors and psychologists and healthcare workers of all sorts that have used this method. It's not ethically unsound, really. I knew one doctor that used it in Louisiana, sympathetic magic, whereas he would wear the blue sunglasses as a, the sign of a root doctor and so forth. He would know certain incantations and what have you to use with certain patients that were prone to belief in the supernatural, in things of a higher order. They may not have understood it, and they may have been, say, for instance, cursed by someone in their clique, and someone in their group, their social order. The curse may or may not have had power to it. That's open for debate. But the person receiving the curse believed it. That is the power of that person, and started creating, actually physically creating all these aspects of the curse. You got stomach problems, your vision's going to get blurry, your hair's going to fall out, whatever. That person created it. Without that belief, without that kernel of belief in the victim, the intended victim, the curse can't work. And
that's true.
That's where sympathetic magic comes in. So when you're using, in my stead here in the Theban Oracle, if you're using these icons that have a representation to something like strength or power or victory or something that's positive, it's love, whatever it is, you can apply that because you know what it is. It's concentrated in that letter, in your mind, in your psyche, and you place your magical order, the ritual, which everybody takes part in one way or another. You're manifesting that cause by yourself. You don't need an athame. You don't need a wand. These are all just focusing tools. You are the magic, and you simply point it in your mind to the level that you want it to be, and it creates itself. Now, you can use it for dark magic, too, which I don't suggest, because that always comes back to you in a nasty way. But sometimes emotions get in the way and we make mistakes. And you can turn back from that and use these letters to bring it out. These are focusing tools only. That's how you look at these letters.
Let me just ask you a question, because as I was reading through, let me just pick one of these to talk about. For example, you've got the H, the chest is what it's called. Dr. John D is the association. The divinatory meeting is concentration, thought, wise decisions. The sacred herb is carnation. And the angelic order is cherubim. Now, did you come up with these interpretations yourself?
What I did is that I researched the person I wanted to use. Now, remember, there's only 24, 25 in this case, letters that I could use. And there are just so many people. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of female hierarchy in the magical realms. I wanted to put more in there, but they fell to the wayside in the annals of history just because the man pretty much ruled the roost. I'm sad to say, in those days, so they didn't get the recognition. So I had to pick out the ones that were so famous, like Hypatia, and put them down in here, and Bethany as an icon for the unknown, because she definitely is unknown, though I put her in a particular place of high magic.
So it looks like what you've done is did you take then these ancient symbols and make them more contemporary so people could work with them today?
Yes. Yes,
okay.
An icon for John D, as you said, concentration and wise decisions and so forth. That was because he was a brilliant man. Don't get me wrong, he was an expert chemist, a mathematician. His code number was 007, makes him the first James Bond. Very, very interesting little tidbits about the man. But like the quintessential absent-minded professor, and I fall into this category too, because my wife does all the banking and financial stuff. Because I would screw it up. Let's be honest. He was the same way. He was the man of the house, had many children. He had the ear of Elizabeth I, Queen of England. Very few men had that, and he was trusted. But he couldn't balance the books. He was so engrossed in his research and his science and what have you, and magic, that he didn't take time or put much effort to those very simple common sense methods, which are important. And he died practically penniless. When James I got in there, he was pretty much ostracized. He lost everything. The majority of his famous works, ended up as butcher's paper. He had to sell it just so he can eat. So it gives you an idea of how brilliant you are, but you're still not making wise decisions. As for the angelic orders and so forth, that also was my invention, with the seraphim and the powers and so forth. All these 9 major orders hold a significance in the realms of the heavens, which a lot of the magi of old based their research in. And those were called spheres, and they stood for something. Like the powers would be like the angelic form of the police. You do something wrong, they're coming after you. That's the force. Where maybe a cherub, and the cherubim is second from the high. They're not little babies in diapers. The angels were terrifying creatures. If you saw one, you would fall to your knees and bow your head and show complete reverence.
I think, Helene, you've done that before, right?
They're still like that. I have news for people. People like to think they're fuzzy little kitties, but that's not how it is, really. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Victorian influx there.
Yeah,
Victorian
it is.
era to shoot babies.
Helene, let me ask you, because I know that you can source a lot of information because you're very talented. And what are you picking up on these symbols? I know you're picking things up, so please share what you're picking up.
Well, what's happened is Greg's been led down a spiritual path. And even though you don't like to admit it, you're enormously intuitive, Greg, right? So a lot of this information's been sort of channeled through you in a very soft way. I'm not getting that you're hearing voices from the sky or anything like that.
No.
But you're absolutely being downloaded with information. And you absolutely have some enormously powerful guides who are telling me that you've worked with this information in the past. I'm not getting that it was the last many lives. It might have been a long time ago, but it's returned to you. And so the idea that you've put meaning and identification onto these letters, you're actually putting your own energy and thought on it. So the system absolutely works because you're doing it, hand in hand with the information that you've already researched. And so I really like the system. I haven't worked with it. I read the book just recently, but it's really fascinating how you got all that information and were led to this place. To me, it is.
Well, thank you. That sounds very intuitive. As being empathic, I do feel a lot of things. I can feel another person's pain as if it's my own.
That's
it really,
empathy.
my heart's
that's empathy.
But easy.
And there are some people who are empathic, but they're not particularly intuitive. But you are incredibly intuitive, and they very easily download information to you, as they say. So the thought comes in your head.
I believe it's from a higher source. Yeah.
Oh, it is. I mean, you have huge, powerful guides. These aren't, Aunt Sally or anything like that. These are ancient guides that you have with you.
Excellent.
Yeah,
a whole bunch of them, too.
I hope this helps
There's
people,
like six of them standing there near you. I'm not going to start talking to them now. But, the other thing I heard was that, while you were talking, was that Bethany herself actually was not in hiding.
She wasn't?
No. There were other people in her family who did this. She was just a really gifted psychic.
Oh, okay. Well, I just
so
got
they
the
had to
impression,
hide from the neighborhood. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not like she's the only one. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Well, that's good to know.
I want to get into also a lot of your conversation in the book around how to create your own Theban alphabet and what materials to use, and then how people can use this whole system to change their lives for the better. But we're going to take a very short commercial break. So everybody stay tuned, and if you have a question for Greg, then call us at 646-478-0828. That number is 646-478-0828. So stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.
This is Veronique Raskin, founder of the Organic Wine Company. As one of the pioneers of the organic wine movement, since 1980 I have brought you the very best and most authentic organic wines directly to your table. I work with small family estates who grow certified organic grapes and produce exceptional wines. You can purchase our wines individually from our website at theorganicwinecompany.com or join one of our wine clubs. Our organic wines are perfect for you and for your family as gifts for friends and relatives, and they are simply spectacular for the holidays. Visit us at theorganicwinecompany.com to enjoy the very best organic wines conveniently delivered to your door. I am Veronique Raskin, passionate about my mission. I offer to you vegan, organic, and biodynamic wines made by people of the heart, wines with a heart. Au revoir. Call us at 1-888-ECO-WINE.
Are you ready for a new experience of freedom and powerful connection? Would you like a positive, effortless change in your life? Then come to CosmicFusion.com, where we offer the most advanced energy clearing and expansion techniques in the world, with a quantum vortex energy to activate your divine blueprint and life's purpose. When your soul leads the way with cosmic fusion and quantum vortex energy, you can break clear of past difficulties and blocks with the power of the source. With cosmic fusion, the source energy does the work for you. It's easy and effortless. Listen to our free meditation right from our Cosmic Fusion website, the Cosmic Code Meditation. Sign up for one of our interactive webinars today. Come to Cosmic Fusion, www.CosmicFusion.com, to experience an effortless awakening and transformation. Are you ready for an upgrade? Are you ready for a new experience of living in the fifth dimensional magic and powerful connection? Then visit CosmicFusion.com today. CosmicFusion.com.
Your property tax bill. Have you seen it lately? It's frightening. Your property taxes are going up while your home value is going down. It's time to fight back and win. For the real truth about the property tax system, get attorney Pat Quintilian's book, Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Attorney Quintilian answers all your questions and gives you the facts you need to fight a property tax bill that is spiraling out of control. You'll also read about what happens to property owners who don't check their property records, only to find out too late they're taxed on square footage, fixtures, and even buildings that they don't own. Is this happening to you? Learn your rights. Buy attorney Pat Quintilian's book today. Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Available on Amazon.com.
Welcome back, everyone. We are speaking tonight, Helene, Olsen, and myself, with Greg Jenkins. He is the author of the Theban Oracle. So, Greg, you have a whole chapter in your book basically dedicated to how people can create their own Theban kind of ruins, in a way. Tell us about that. How do we do this? How do we use this system for ourselves, and how do we create these alphabetical magical symbols for our own use?
Well, the creation of such a device, a focusing tool like these stones or shards or what have you, is completely up to the person who wants to do it. I like stones or clay products myself, because you can feel the earth in your hands, you can feel all of nature and absorb what is in it. Now, that in itself may sound very mystical, but if you ever held like a rock, for instance, for a period of time, you'll start to feel things if you're open to it, if you're intuitive or at least open-minded enough to sit back and relax. You can do this with all natural things. If you do it with a piece of plastic, not so much. Metal, yes, because it's also a natural earth element. But stones and minerals and things of that nature, woods and bones, things that have lived, all have a certain, I guess you can call it a power to it. And it doesn't matter what you use. It really depends on you. A lot of the Ethiopian tribes would use turtle shells or seashells that they would bring back, and they were worth quite a bit of money, and as well as many people in the Polynesian islands and what have you. They might use scales of very large fish, let it dry, and put a little symbol on it. You can paint it, or you can etch it like I do with mine, just simply by an engraving tool, at some kind of hobby shop or what have you, You draw the picture on it, for instance, on a stone, and you just etch it real lightly, and it makes that part white or whatever the meat of the stone color is. I prefer something like this as, say, tarot cards, for instance, because cards, in my opinion, are manufactured. They're covered in a plastic. There's just something taken away from it. That doesn't mean you can't receive something from it, that it's not working as well as a stone or a bone fragment or what have you. But there's something. So
you're saying there's more of an organic connection when you create your own like this, and it's a natural substance. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah, I prefer all natural organic. So, and you can pick out a stone that has meaning to you. Power stones, what have you. You can use an agate or bloodstone, for instance, is popular. And these are interesting. And when you etch on them, the stone inside is going to be more white, so you'll see the letter, the glyph. But you can use wood shards too.
Have you produced your own set that people can pick up at metaphysical stores?
I have not. Originally, I made my own. I don't have time.
Some people like to pick them up. You know, they like to look.
Some people don't want to make their own.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
If you want to go that route, I suggest you go online. You put in the address bar. You can put in Theban stones for sale. You can put in witchcraft supplies, whatever, and then ask various sellers who will do that. I know there's a
but
few.
You haven't had one produced yet.
No, I did it myself.
Okay.
I made it myself. There are.
I'm giving you a business idea, Greg.
Yeah. I was thinking of that. Originally, we wanted to go that route. Weiser wanted to go that route, I think, too, and have them produced out of, like, clay or stone or some kind of element like that. But for
people love to
reason,
buy those book sets, you know. Yeah. People love to buy book sets, you know, the books that come with the tool.
I agree. I really wish they would. And you never know. They might pick up a contract later on and republish the book with a set. I mean, I don't know how publishing companies operate, but it's possible. But maybe in the future I can have some made and sell those on ETSY, one of those sites, maybe eBay or something like that. Mm-hmm. But they're really easy to make. So even people who don't think they're talented or have artistic skills, you can go to one of these hobby stores and buy little wood chips. You can buy them already cut out, or you can have them made, and then you can buy a burning etching tool, which costs about $15, and you can etch those letters on there or paint them on by yourself. Get creative. Let your inside, your feeling, your emotions, your psyche actually go out into your creation. I mean, that's what I study for a living is, I analyze people's artwork and poetry and so forth. Our team of scientists, researchers do that. And it's the same way. Your creation is very specific, very unique, and it's one of a kind. Out of all the humans in history, yours is unique, which makes it a power tool in itself. So that's why I always suggest, make it yourself. Buy some seashells. All you have to do is make sure they're all roughly of the same size and weight and so forth. They can't be too obvious, because if you put your hand in a bag, for instance, to shift around, you're going to know, well, this large stone, that's obviously that's one symbol, and I know exactly what it means. That alters your perception, if you will, the magical process, if you want to put it in terms. So keep them all pretty much uniform.
So people need how many? 24 stones? 25?
24. Yeah,
24.
You can actually. Yeah, you can create a little bit. You can go a little bit further. You can make 25 and make 2 mystery stones, which might balance things out. You can add to this if you wanted to, maybe by 1. But 24 is the number that you want to go by, because that's the original concept for it, the original codex system, and most are. They fall within that, the Latin lines.
Now, I noticed in your book that you did assign herbs and a certain type of an angelic force with these, but no crystals. Are there crystals that can be associated with this?
I was going to do that, but it was. I mean, I had literary people written in there originally, but I had to remove a lot of it just for space and time. Crystals are important. That's a mineral, and that, I think, instead of assigning something of that nature, herbs and plants and so forth, I wanted to assign that because you could use them in ritual, if you will. Crystals as well, but that's something that's very personal, and a lot of them have such steadfast meanings. I didn't want to corrupt that. You know, I mean, you might have a smoky quartz to deal with various issues. You might have an amethyst to clear negativity if there's negative emotions. I mean, every crystal or mineral has various properties and meanings. So you can apply that to yourself. This is a chance for you to add on to that. You can create a workbook, a little pad, and you can add these letters, and you can add a crystal that has power to you and meaning, which automatically signifies it, because this is mine. This is my creation originally. It's meant to be added upon. You can use this, for focusing techniques. If you use one letter, say the letter P, for instance, which stands for Paracelsus, the alchemist. You know, I mean, use what he stands for. His persona stands for in ritual. If that means it's a sacrifice, that you're going to give yourself a sacrifice, you're sacrificing something, you can use that in a prayer for somebody, because you're giving part of yourself to another person, say in a time of sickness or grief or whatever the case may be. You can use it, and you can use it in candle magic. You can use it in your crystal magic. You can use it in any form of divination system you want, or any form of magic that you want. Just use what I wrote, you can, as a foundation, just a lily pad to jump from.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think yes, absolutely. And I agree with you. I think that when you make your own stones, whatever you make them out of, whether it be wood or clay, as you mentioned, or seashells, it doesn't matter. But when you make them yourself, what, in my opinion, you're doing is you're creating a connection between you and the divine realms. So that energy is something that can only happen when you create something this way. So, yes, it's very different than going out and buying a set, although I'm also very inclined to go out and buy a set because I have no artistic ability at all. So, anyways, etching, I don't even want to think about what my symbols would look like on these things. So,
well, I've actually created things for myself, and that's really the highest form and the best way to do it. But for all of our audience, and many of them love tarot cards, even though they're mass-produced, people do impart their own connection and energy on their deck. So, this may be a higher form and a better way to do it and create a better connection for yourself. But it's all part of the same energy, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
It is.
It's a wellspring in which you draw from.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. And now you had a couple of ideas here of how people could work with these to create abundance in their lives. And you give a Theban incense money ritual is one of the ones I'm looking at. Mm-hmm. And then I was looking for, then what are the letters that you associate with this? What would be the alphabet letters that you would choose for something like this? Because you say use the corresponding Theban letters to enforce and empower your goals, but you don't say what they are. So what are they?
Empower your goals. Well, again, that comes to the person wielding the stone or the shard or the system itself. If I were to use, say, just off the top of my head, Girlz, probably everybody knows who he was. He stands for, he was a murderer and black occultist and so forth during the time of many of the pre-Crusades, Joan of Arc Crusades and what have you. He was once a very good person that went totally evil and greedy. Now, he basically stands for negative temperament and ending of innocence, the death of innocence and rage and so forth. Now, the sacred herb I put to that was stinging nettle, and the angelic order was the virtues. Now, virtues would be for bringing back that virtues to a negative situation. Say you're too lost in something, say addiction and what have you. You're conscious, you've got that problem, but you want to get out of it. You want to move out of it. Well, you're part of a negative temperament right now. I also, say garlic for the Simon Foreman stone and what have you, the letter. Well, that's obviously something used to repel. I mean, that's an ancient ancient repelling herb, and you would apply that directly to your, if you want to call it magic or ritual, you can. For abundance, in this case, you want to draw something in. So whatever the letters I apply to that, just concentrate on those letters as being abundant. Think of it like the rune stones. That was very popular back in the 70s and 80s. It's not an ancient custom, an ancient system. It was devised, well, I guess it was devised in the 18th century, but it doesn't go back to the time of the Vikings. It was just used as a lettering system and for giving directions for Vikings, and it later on took on a mantra of meaning, of magical meanings. But in this case, much like the runes, you apply the power. You know what it stands for, and you use that as the focusing agent, the conduit, to what you want done. You want abundance. A lot of these spells that I put in there, and I use that word loosely, spells, again, this all falls under the sympathetic magic concept. You create the ritual. You put the power and energy to the ritual, and thus the ritual takes place. The magic that you're the end goal occurs because you believe in it, and it will occur. The magic, unlike Harry Potter, isn't just flipping a wand and then it appears. You fix your glasses or whatever. It's not going to happen like that. It never has. But it takes time sometimes. And if you're open to it and you're honest, you will see this stuff taking place. I know that these things these rituals, if you will, do occur. They do work. I've tried them in myself years ago, and it does work. But like treasure mapping, say, for instance, an abundance. Say I wanted a girl, and I know exactly the girl I want. I met her, and I just got a crush on her, and I really want her in my life. I would never take her photograph or take an article or her clothing or something like that and focus on that, try to make it be. It's not that you wouldn't actually have it. You might obtain it for a moment, but it will be twisted and perverted. It won't be natural. Instead, what I would do is say, and you go for the virtues of it. You know, say I want some Hooters girl or something like that. I mean, that's just purely animalistic. But if you say, I would like a woman that's compassionate, that's going to listen to me and accepts me who I am, and put all these characteristics down there, and then perform the ritual over various periods of time. The ancients would have had, various days and the moon cycles and what have you. Is very complex. It doesn't need to be that way, for instance. It really doesn't. You might use Thursday as a day. You can use a waning moon. You choose your own path, your own traditions and what have you for this. You can apply it to this ritual system. But so long as you apply it in the proper way and you take your time and you're steadfast in your belief in it, whatever it is, if it's the burning of a particular spice, if you want to clear negativity, you might want to burn regular clove powder and a metal censer and so forth, fills the air up there. You concentrate with the smoke dissipating, with the negativity dissipating, and it goes away. That's the sympathetic magic that you can create in yourself, and that is how my rituals work.
Well, I appreciate you delineating that, because it is not inside of universal law to exert will and power over another person's choices, right?
Right. That's bad mojo. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's right. Your explanation was excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so when you do this, it's a little more abstract, and as you both just were discussing, you don't inflict your will on someone else, but you can call to you the energy that you're looking for in the right person for you, the right situation, the right job, etc. And again, this is all in your book, the Theban Oracle, and it does list very clearly different types of incense, different candles you can use for different rituals. And again, it's all about using it as a focus for your intent, which is the same as it is in all good magic. So it's very easy to follow. They're like little recipes that you have in here.
It's devised to help, for you to help yourself. And in many ways, this is just a self-help tool. It's not going to say, okay, quit your job because you got a new one coming. It's not going to do that. I mean, it's like people get confused by a lot of the icons in divination and magic. That they'll look at the death card in the tarot and that arcana, and they'll say, it's just, you're doomed. I got the death card and the hanging man and the crashing tower. it's the end of the world. No.
But people who really read know the difference, I think.
They know the difference. But the first look is doom and gloom, and that's not what you're supposed to do. It's take your time and really think about this. That's why, I say in the book, sacred places are so vitally important. If you go back 60 years, 100 years, you could go out in your backyard and sit in a nice little garden or what have you, or wherever you are, you could find a lot of peace. But today, and it's only going to get worse, I'm sad to say, but it's just humming, a constant, annoying hum of technology and negative vibrations and anger and resentment, and all these popular things are produced in almost everything we see, from magazine articles to websites to phone messages to the evening news. And this stuff just gets into you and embraces you and turns you if you let it. And a lot of people do, because they're weakened by it, and that's the whole goal of it, is to break you down and to make you subjective. I know that sounds like conspiracy theory, but basically that's exactly what's happening. So when I say a sacred place, if it is on the beach at sundown and there's nobody else on the beach, that is a prime time for you to get in touch with nature and yourself. Sounds quintessential, but those vibrations, those powers that exist are actually there, and that's when you let it absorb it. For me, it's the forest. I've always found a lot of power near where there's a lot of negative ions, which is natural. It's physically natural, next to brooks and streams and ocean byways and stuff like that, canals. That makes you feel better. It puts you in a still place. But if I've got some heavy metal playing in the background or a jackhammer, tearing down a building across the street, I'm going to be put off of that. Part of me is not going to be able to focus, even though we're designed today in our century to be multitaskers and what have you, and to answer emails and talk on 6 phones at a time and do all this stuff. That's not who we should be, I don't think. So get away from it all. Turn off the music, turn off the noise. Don't even have white noise. If you got a bathtub and candles, you want to sit there and prepare yourself and burn an incense or an scented oil or what have you to calm your soul, then you do that. You prep yourself just like the ancient magicians would. They would go to the limits, of course, by fasting and by bathing in certain oils and anointing themselves and taking many levels of dictum before they did their prayer or meditation or ritual magic. And we have to do the same thing. You don't have to be that intense unless you're a ceremonial magician. But if you just turn away the negativity, turn down the noise, turn the cell phone off, turn the television off, turn the computer off. You don't need these things. They're not lifeblood. It's not food and water. Turn it off and sit, even if it is in silence and in the dark, and recollect yourself. Always reduce everything to a standard level of your soul, of your spirit being, before you practice this. When you do that, you will have a pure reading. If, say, you're having problems at work and you're angry and there's somebody giving you a hard time, or they wrote something nasty about you on the internet or whatever, that is going to greatly influence what you're doing and your reading, because your negative energies are going directly into that tool, whether it be a stone or wood or bone or what have you.
So and you're talking about basically quieting the mind and quieting the emotional self and just seeing what else can happen when you do that.
That's right. Yeah, turn it all off.
It's not that easy to do, but I think it's great advice.
It's not easy. It's not easy, but you can. I mean, even people living in New York or Chicago. I live in Oak Park, Illinois, the Chicago area, and it's when I go into work, in various places in the city. I mean, that is just one gigantic hive of energy, and it's positive, negative, and always on the move. Now, that I can't do anything, spiritually speaking, in such a place. But if I go in my office, or if I go in the little atrium area, I can sit there and I can, take a few 5-10 minutes of deep meditation before I do anything, and it stabilizes me, and it puts me back into my thinking zone where I need to do. Because I work with a lot of very sad, very damaged people, a lot of the psychiatric hospitals and people who are hanging on by a thread because life has been so hard for them. There are a lot of victims, and these people need to heal in their own way. And I try to help them the best I can. And when you're in that state of mind, you're going to find that the old saying that misery likes company, or birds of a feather flock together, actually is true. And you'll see that negativity ratio actually expedites itself, exponentially produces itself in a spiral sense. So you have to get away from that if you can. When you're engrossed in it and you're surrounded it, you have to unload. You have to detox spiritually. And there's methods you can use. Many people have their own idea. Transcendental meditation might work for some. Just simple candlelight meditation. Sometimes it's a dark room. You pick your path that best works for you. If it's walking on the beach or on a nature trail, these are good things. Sometimes the alone time in these places, these sacred places, can really make a difference in your life, and especially when you're going to use this oracle system.
Now, do you use this oracle system with any of your patients? I mean, any of the people that you work with in your practice?
People I have worked with, and not so much my patients. I like to stay on task with that. My goal is strictly using expressive arts therapy and so forth. I work with poets and artists and what have you in our team and our lineup, and that's what we want to tend to go there. A lot of people are, a lot of the patients I've worked with may have fantasy-prone issues, and you might be doing more damage by implying something of this nature to them because it automatically takes over. And so you want them basically to even themselves firstly. You want to go by complete ethics in your practice. And then later on, if they want to explore this, that's okay. But yeah, I don't usually use any kind of this idea. I don't self-relate this aspect of my life with my patients or clients. But my friends and so forth, yeah, we've had get-togethers and we've done this. Also, you don't want to be intoxicated or drinking too much wine and so forth. A lot of people like to have a glass or two of Chardonnay, when they're doing this. That alters it too. Your vibration.
Sure
it does. It may make it more giddy. It may make it negative. It may bring out some, not so wholesome ideas in what you're reading, and it's going to alter what you should be reading into something else. So.
Right. Well, I have to say these symbols, when I first looked at them in your book, reminded me of another author we had on the air not too long ago who talked about the sacred science of Japan. And, Helene, you know this chart because we've worked with it. And there's this chart that is in the book, and it's something that's, again, a big mystery in ancient Japan. He was trying to source where this thing came from, and he thought it was a divination tool. But when Helene and I started working with it, and Becky also at that time, we really felt that it was like a telephone. It was a way to communicate with other dimensions and things like that. And with the Theban alphabet, I have a similar feeling. It's almost like it's a telephone to the angelic realm. I mean, these symbols are truly powerful and can connect you right up to the different levels in the angelic realm. Now, I can understand if that was the case, why the churches would not have wanted this in anybody's hands.
That's right. There were a lot of contradictions back in the days. Pope Leo III used it, and Pius V, and all these guys were using various forms of magic that we understand today in their own practice. And it's kind of like voodoo or vodou. You intermix Catholicism with African black magic and so forth. It's a contradiction in terms. It should be, but they use it. So I find it interesting that these hierarchies and popes and archbishops and bishops and what have you use as magic systems. Not all of them, of course, but a lot of them used it. And you remember Catholicism in this case was the all religion. Basically, it was for everybody. It was designed for that. And there's a lot of magical traditions intertwined with that faith, whether you believe it or not. And it's the same thing. As far as being a connection to the higher realms of angels and what have you, yes. I base a lot of my work not just on the runic system, the runic casting system, or the grammatoliths as a form of divination, but also the Enochian method, which was devised by Dee and Kelly, of course, mostly Dee. And that was meant to be done in verbiage and tones, various tones, that you can actually open up portals and gateways and so forth. This is a part of medieval metaphysics that nobody really understands. A lot of people suspect that Dee did understand that and was in communique with angels. And that being the case, it's understandable why you would probably not pay attention to your hygiene or having lunch or dinner or taking care of your finances. It would be so ingratiating to see a different realm of existence and totally disregard the current realm. It's like people that have near-death experiences and what have you. They come back. They didn't want to come back. They did not want to return to this train wreck, which was their body or this world. They wanted to be in that beautiful ether that cannot be described. Now, you can imagine being in complete paradise and then going into a prison cell. So,
well, yes, but Dee's system was highly complicated, and this is very simple. So This is only 24 symbols. I mean, the stuff that he was doing was just endlessly complicated, and actually was just levels upon levels of symbols and incantations, and I mean, it's just a lot of work.
A lot.
to make that connection.
A lot of them. Yeah, a lot of Dee scholars, they still follow it nonetheless and still, work toward it and use it in their own practices and what have you. But magic doesn't have to be that complicated, what I'm calling magic. It's as simple as getting in touch with yourself and just using what you have upon it. It's like no different from an actor, putting on a completely believable fraud for the audience. I mean, it could play a part, a doctor, a priest, or whatever, and completely make you believe it when the person in real life is nothing like those characters. Nothing. Right. And that is a part of us that we, dig in and bring out. That's that expressive, soulful nature that all of us have. Some use it, some don't. They get bogged down with books and, keeping up with the neighbors, and I have to have this car or what. I mean, there's a whole list of negativities that we consider to be necessities in our life, and that's not true. So,
well, and also, there are people who are enormously talented, like you, Helene. You are so talented, and you have the ability to just tune in and begin a communication with just about anyone, any being from the angelic realm. And I've seen you do it, and it's amazing and it's powerful. But what I'm seeing with this Theban alphabet, which is fascinating to me, is that this is like a telephone system that gives everybody a chance to try it out and see if by meditating on these symbols or one symbol that you feel you resonate with, that you can create an open door to somebody in the angelic realm for yourself. I mean, I think there's another use to this that is quite amazing and quite ancient.
Well, Greg, I really have to commend you because you're absolutely right. I agree with you. Every single person is intuitive. And it's just up to us individually to decide whether we want to open up enough to connect to it. And when people find that space, they're able to get amazing information after a while. That doesn't mean every person will hear a voice necessarily or see an angel standing next to them, but the ability to be intuitive and receive information is absolutely there for everybody.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I think this alphabet is a way to offer that to everybody, which is what a gift. I mean, this book is a gift to everybody to make that connection.
I hope it is. I hope it is. There's no negativity embraced in this book at all. It's all positive thinking. Even if there's something that dictates that there was a negative aspect, it's there as a lesson to teach us not to follow that. And if we fall down that path, to turn around and go back. It can be. It's not the end. That's what all this means. And yes, if you find an opening or a channel to speaking with the angels or the higher realms or receiving information from them, absolutely. Because, magic without faith is not magic at all. An old saying. So that's
Good
it.
one.
That's it in a nutshell, basically what this whole system is. And I hope my readers enjoy it. I hope Weiser's happy they published it. I hope it goes I hope it grows.
Yeah.
Well, we're thrilled.
Great book. I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was a wonderful, wonderful book to read. And like I said, I think that the potential with this alphabet is even greater than whatever anybody has thought of previously, at least in our contemporary culture. And you've done a wonderful job, as Helene has said, associating these alphabet letters with people and herbs and things like that. And again, I see it as a way for people to connect right up to somebody in the angelic realm, whomever that may be. There's a host of them up there and around us, but this does give that ability. It's like a frequency that opens up. So it's just a wonderful book to read, and you have so much of a variety of how you can work with this magical alphabet. There's many different ways to work with this. Even as you mentioned in your book, choosing one symbol and just meditating on that one symbol and seeing what comes up for you. It's all about personal transformation anyways, so it's how this alphabet can help you with that, whether the characteristics you're working on are positive or maybe have a negative tinge to them. It doesn't really matter. It's all about finally honing yourself. That's why we're all here. So it's just a great book. Again, the name of the book is The Theban Oracle. It is available on Amazon.com. It's wonderful. Highly recommend it. Excellent book. You've written many other books also, haven't you, Greg? I saw a long list there.
I have. I'm a folklorist. You know, it's one of my hobbies. I've always really been into the ghost stories, and so that's probably why I like the Supernatural TV show. You know, because it dealt with such cool subjects, and I would watch the first season. And I'd say, I know that folklore, I know that story, I know all about this. Kind of a nerd, you know, but I've written several ghost stories. When I lived in Florida full time, I wrote a 3-book series called Florida's Ghostly Legends and Haunted Folklore, and that was, covering pretty much all of Florida. And I couldn't get every story, of course, but I got some pretty neat legends that dealt with the Sunshine State, all in their little local ghost stories and what have you. And that was with Pineapple Press. And I did another book with them called Chronicles of the Strange and Uncanny in Florida, which covers everything from sea monsters and UFOs and Bigfoots and what have you, just in the state of Florida, for which there are countless. Neat books.
Yeah, fun stuff. No wonder you like the television show Supernatural like I do. I mean, it's all of those things. They have, obviously, some really good researchers that have found those old stories and brought them into the script.
Definitely.
Yes.
They did their research. I have some upcoming books. One specifically you might be interested in with Schiffer Press coming out soon called Renaissance Cooking in Today's Kitchen, which is covering the ancient foods of the Paganus folk, which is the Pagani, the ancient simple folk of the day from the Dark Ages, actually the Roman period, right on up to the High Renaissance. So keep an eye out for that one. There's a really good recipe.
What is that going to be about? Is that a recipe book?
It's a recipe book and a history story that covers the major holidays, which we now call Wiccan holidays. But, that was just par for the course for our ancestors. Explains, how Ostera, for instance, and the idea of the Easter Bunny and all that stuff came about. It has nothing to do with Christianity, of course. It's a very, very, very ancient pagan ritual. And it even had a bunny rabbit and colored eggs. A lot of people don't realize it.
Really? Oh, gosh. This is going to be fun to read.
It's going to be fun, yeah. But the recipes are really
Can you really reproduce the recipes?
Absolutely. Now, I'm not using the more audacious, the more nasty recipes like boiled dog or porpoise and stuff like that. They had hedgehog in a bowl in its own blood. And they ate things. Just ridiculous.
Oh, no. Not hedgehogs. They're so cute.
Hedgehog.
Oh, no.
That's got to hurt going down,
I know it. Oh.
But, keep an eye out for that.
I like them too much to think of them as food. But
yeah, me too. I'm practically a vegetarian. I eat mostly just fish nowadays. But.
Oh, gosh. So tell us again, what's the name of this book that's coming up?
This one is called Renaissance Cooking in Today's Kitchen, and the subtitle is tentative at this point, but basically it's ancient recipes of the Paganus folk. And that's coming out sometime this year. They have all my photos and final copies and so forth, so it all depends on the publishing of it.
Excellent. We'll have to.
And I have other books too.
I saw, like I said, there was a long list after your name. So yes, everybody should go to Amazon.com and look up your name, Greg Jenkins, along with the Theban Oracle. And the Theban Oracle will contain a whole list of this magical alphabet and how you can use it in both divination and in creating your own reality. So it's a wonderful handbook, I think, to have. And it's been a pleasure having you on the show, Greg. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg.
Yes. Yeah. Well, look, you stay in touch with all these exciting projects, please, and we'll have to have you back on the show. And I just want to thank you again, and then also we're going to be announcing one more time the prayers for Becky. So, Greg, thank you. Everybody just stay tuned, and we will be having a prayer circle tomorrow night, and that is Thursday evening. And this is for our sister in light, Becky Andreasen. So Thursday, May 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be having the prayer circle for Becky and also for you, all of our audience members who want to call in, and their prayers will be extended to you and your loved ones. There's going to be, as Helene mentioned, plenty to go around for everybody. And the number to call to join us on the conference line is 712-432-1500. 712-432-1500. And then you're going to be prompted to enter an access code. That code is 768-610#. Again, that number is 768-610#. And shortly after 8 o'clock, we'll be closing the line. So make sure that you call in at 8 o'clock. And you can go to supernaturalgirls.com website, and you will see the phone number and the access code posted there. And is it on your website also, Helene, Angels Lighthouse?
Oh, yes, it's at angelslighthouse.com as well. So I'm not a person who runs around with a pencil in my hand, so I don't want anyone to worry. They can go right over to supernaturalgirls.com. It's right at the top of the homepage there.
And if for some reason you are not able to join us right around 8 o'clock and the conference is locked, you are also able to tune in and meditate right from where you are. We are going to draw people in beyond the telephone call. So feel free to sit in meditation. We are expecting the call to be from 20 minutes to a half an hour. And again, these are prayers for Becky, and they're also prayers for you and for your loved ones who may need healing. It's going to be great. I can't wait to do this one, Helene. This is going to be so much fun and so powerful. Yeah. Are you feeling the angels lining up for this one?
Oh, they love a party. I keep saying that, but they love it. Whenever there's a group getting together for prayers or healing or sending light, they just line up by the droves. They really do. So, and especially for Becky, you know, she's a special, special spirit. So it's going to be really good. I hope everybody joins. Yes, please. Please do join us. And again, to access that phone number and code, you can go to supernaturalgirls.com or angelslighthouse.com. It is posted on both places, and Helene and I will be posting it on Facebook and in our Twitter accounts. If you're not following us on Twitter, please go ahead and sign up for that with Supernatural Girls. And Helene, what's your Twitter name? It's Psychic Helene, right? They can go, but they can go to angelslighthouse.com, and there's a Twitter symbol there. There's a little tweet bird there. Yeah, a little blue bird, yeah. Good. You, so, you guys can follow us all from right from our web pages.
and get the access code and the phone number. And again, that's 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So another wonderful
such a great show. It was.
Yeah.
Very fascinating.
It
really,
is.
Taken with him. Yeah. Yeah. I really enjoyed what he had to say, and I thought it gave people a refined insight into what divination really is.
I like
a lot
that.
of
That's
people,
a good way to put it.
you know, a lot of people go to readers because they want to know what is going to happen. But see, the choice is really ours about what's going to happen.
Yeah.
The information that you get from that gives you some information to be forearmed with so that you can make better choices. And that's really what it amounts to. So, yeah. Yep. Yeah, so I really enjoyed him. He was great.
Yeah, great guest. And again, the book is The Theban Oracle by Greg Jenkins. Well, Helene, another wonderful evening. I've been so lucky to share it with you. I hope you feel better.
Me too, Patricia. Thank you. Sniffles, we like to complain.
I know. Well, everybody stay healthy and happy, and join us on the conference call for Becky tomorrow night. And we'll be back next week with another exciting show, Wednesday night, 7:30 to 9.
Good night, Patricia.
Good night, Helene.
Thanks for listening. Tune in next week for another radio adventure with Supernatural Girl.